It was a calm, cool night in the streets where things are gritty in the lounge on the east side of town in New York City, where the rich show face in the air is something sleazy. Suit and ties get away from their wives, the women easy. An upscale atmosphere with some wallow, consumed by material life inside the hollow. Like the chick at the bar smoking on a cigar quick. Her heart pumps fast, her stare as sharp as guitar picks. She sees a man with another skirt, the type to triple her net worth for making your neck jerk. And that's a goddamn shame, cause she was packing a 9 and a crime was no game. So I'm ducking to a restroom, followed suit and licked shots as the bass went boom. She can't remember how she got in this place. Took a look in the mirror but didn't recognize her own face.
When I'm singing, my heart's bleeding for someone else. So what I'm seeing, I'm leaving up on the shelf. When I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming of somewhere else. I got my reasons, I'm not leaving this to no one else.
It was a dark night, more like love at first sight. Around midnight, we might just see a bar fight. It never fails now that Mickey's out of jail. He was Jimmy's friend, the one that left the phony paper trail. Heard he got cold feet, so we got off the street, but he was in too deep. The man was never the same, and now his new thing looks like alcohol and cocaine. And in the streets that's fresh, but up in here, this place, it's nothing but stress. Can a man be changed? In an insane world, the crazy man becomes king. Or is it just this place that's known to steal your soul? I hope you brought your suitcase. Or was it just too late to go back in time before his chick blue face?
When I'm singing, my heart's bleeding for someone else. So what I'm seeing, I'm leaving up on the shelf. When I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming of somewhere else. I got my reasons, I'm not leaving this for no one else.
They took a job on the side, needed extra cash, but still not enough. He started moving packs. No need for crack, this place was upscale. Ecstasy and coke were number one on the sales. No worries about jail, he had cops on the books. 1 week he had you fixed, as well as the crooks. But tonight he was shook, caught by the devil's eye. Red dress, blowing smoke, hand resting on his thigh, shine like diamonds in the sky. He stopped for a minute, but had to keep moving and adding up the digits. He was trying to live it, the American dream, a life full of schemes obtained by any means. He tried to up the profit by trying to mix it up, but the word on the street is that it wasn't good enough. Joe met him at the club, said they had to talk. Just come with me and let's take a little walk.
When I'm singing, my heart's bleeding for someone else. So what I'm seeing, I'm leaving up on the shelf. When I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming of someone else. I got my reasons, I'm not leaving this to no one else. Ooh, no one else.
Blam! Is this Raz?
Yes. Sunrise.
Raz? The first 52.
Sunrise.
Raz? Live Tuesday nights.
Sunrise.
Raz?
Something that you know Bubba's gonna like.
Angry White Guy Radio.
His point of view is different.
It's the first 52. Angry White Guy Radio. I love the content. Hey, it's the first 52. Raz with you.
The first part of the, Constitution.
This is the best you got?
Something that you know Bubba's gonna like.
Angry White Guy Radio.
Join me, Sean Raz, Tuesday nights, 6 to 8 p.m., RazRadioLive.com, RadioFreeBlood.com. It's time for a TF52 flashback.
Look, sooner or later, you're going to come to the realization that no matter what we do, it won't get better. You could live in your fairyland and think that, oh yeah, things are going to get better when we do this, or when we vote this person in, or when we do that, or blah blah blah. It doesn't get better. And again, I'm not going by what I think will happen. I'm going by what I've seen what happened, in the past.
All right, well, let's stick with our election coverage here tonight.
Well, hey, I mean, let's, before we get off that subject, I mean, do you have anything you would propose that could be done that would be effective? Or are you
That's
just
going to
pointing
end
out
up with
what's
the FBI
not
visiting
working?
his house.
Exactly. I don't really talk about the thing that I think that would change this country, but I have said it in a hidden way. And what I will always say is, you defund them, and you figure out how to do that, and then we'll have the answer, because all they're after is our money.
Boy that he'd already traveled twice to Georgia to have sex with a 15-year-old boy there.
And that scenario?
Hold on. Like a Fight Club scenario, and Shifty said, you said doom and gloom. What were you saying there?
Oh, I said, I was saying, so amongst all this doom and gloom, we have some really great news coming out of Massachusetts tonight.
Do we?
We
What is
do.
it?
Medical marijuana has officially been passed in the great, I believe Massachusetts is a commonwealth, is it not?
Yeah, I think it's like Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Massachusetts has medical marijuana passed, though, which is great.
Excellent.
All right, what is that? The 17th state in the nation that's done it?
18th, I believe.
I mean, you might be right. You might be
I
right.
think it was 17 already.
18th,
it would be the 18th state, yeah.
And Florida's just holding out, man.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Which makes no sense, because we have the most sickest people down here.
That would be,
go ahead.
That would be the 18th state. Make sure you don't forget about the District of Columbia.
Yes, of course, the people trying very hard to keep it from most of us have it legal in their state. Go figure, right?
Well, the people in power, it doesn't matter whether it's legal or not. They'll just do it and get away with it. And
Like we do.
we've seen that time and time.
Yeah, kind of like the rest of us do.
Abducted, falsely imprisoned, tortured, and threatened with further torture without charge, without trial. Even many soldiers had said to me afterwards, was it hell, if you weren't a terrorist when you came in here, by the time you leave, I'm sure you would be because of the way you've been treated.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. Malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
People are always asking me, yo, Gemini, what's your angle? Are you a devil or an angel? And I say both, as I continue to blame the Knights Templar and the Hospitallers, the real reason New York lost their towers. Don't sit back or hesitate to react to the impact. Many taking a nap. In fact, they would fake an attack to make way for the Patriot Act. Some say, hey, it ain't safe to say that, but it's the same game. Different name on the map as they place blame. And they aim at Iraq. It's a damn shame because they never claimed the hijack. Following the fiddle, one with a found hero. The town hero, responsible for ground zero. Objects in the mirror, close and they appear so clear. Your ear to hear the sound of fear grow. Beware the eagle, the dragon, and the ego. And footage that they show that we are forced to see slow. Persecuted and disputed because of what we know. The strings that control these kings come from below. Observe the nerve of this dark heart government. Thinking they can avoid a spark with another myth. Walk right up, take the ark of the covenant. The cards have been pulled by the shark and I'm loving it. Look hard and you will find 7. Head to the beast behind 9/11. Wrapped in fine linen. Even John Lennon couldn't imagine this modern day Armageddon. We've been ambushed, pushed to the edge. Persecuted cause we disputed to know the ledge. Pledge allegiance, not even if the world stops turning. Never trust a bush unless it's burning. We've all been ambushed, pushed to the edge. Persecuted cause we disputed to know the ledge. Pledge allegiance, not even if the world stops turning. Never trust a bush unless it's burning.
There is a chance for the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
From junior to senior to Grandpa Prescott to the Nazi mouse house in the center at Epcot. Let's not forget their messed up mascot. Skull and bones digging up Geronimo's rest spot. These fallen zones are not alone in their upset plot. These garden gnomes are part of homes, so I take my best shot. With the heart of stones, they are prone to never get caught. There's a big cold phone details and emails on your desktop. Many be growing up gaudy like Mayor Giuliani. Practicing karate with the Illuminati. Atanto Kimosabe, who's quick to kill somebody for the love of mud, honey, or a little blood money. I don't find these thugs funny, they sell drugs to Bugs Bunny. Not that it's any of my business that I'm his daffy ducks, buddy. Just tighter when they laugh at me and what my dreadlocks done when they kill tiny children, left many building blocks bloody. The square and the compass and the almanac. Are you aware that they're amongst us and it's all an act? Some Yeza and his Ezra now come crawling back. Drove to Bohemian Grove dressed all in black. A serpent king worshipping a stone owl. The dragon Ronald Reagan ain't Colin Powell. Flipping scripture like Vanna White, showing a vowel. We have to plan to fight and never throw in the towel. We've been ambushed, pushed to the edge. Persecuted cause we disputed to know the ledge. Pledge allegiance, not even if the world stops turning. Never trust the bush unless it's burning. We've all been ambushed, pushed to the edge. Persecuted cause we disputed to know the ledge. Pledge allegiance, not even if the world stops turning. Never trust the bush unless it's burning.
Remember this, your government funded and trained Al-Qaeda.
The Supreme Court's ruling that said that we must conduct ourselves under the Common Article 3 of the Geneva Convention. And that Common Article 3 says that, there will be no outrages upon human dignity. It's very vague. What does that mean?
Being a cat can be damn tedious. People dangling bells and bits of string in your face all the time. Just be a dog. Run around, catch frisbees, pee on a fire hydrant. Life's more rewarding, and you get access to lots of treats. Catch Salty Talk Mondays and Wednesdays, and every Friday for Salty's Weekend Warm-Up, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Add a little salt to your life, and be more dog.
To them your life is worth the time to kill? Is it the time to kill? Wow! Is it the time to kill? Yeah! Is it the time to kill? Wow! Is it the time to kill? Yeah! Wow! This is the time to kill! This is the time to kill! This is the time to kill! This is the time to kill!
Have you ever called into your favorite talk radio program only to encounter this and felt like this? That never happens when you dial 941-421-0401. At RazRadioLive.com, we answer right away. And pow, you're live on the air talking to one of your favorite hosts. No screeners, no delays. Try it now. 941-421-0401 and avoid 941-421-0401. If you're a new listener or a seasoned veteran, don't be scared. 941-421-0401. We welcome all. We know how it feels to be ignored. RazRadioLive.com.
Yeah. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Are you ready for this? Cause it's the first 52. Listen up if you wanna survive the ride. Tune in, the truth might change your life. The simple power of truth. One word, rock the nation. RazRadioLive.com. It's the first 52. Saturday night conspiracy facts. It's the first 52 with your host Sean Raz. The simple power of truth. Join the conversation. RazRadioLive.com. It's the first 52. The BIC's in charge. Time to listen up. Real talk mixed with music, meant to wake you up. It's the simple power of truth. Join the conversation. RazRadioLive.com. It's the first 52. That's your opinion. Bring your facts to Dave. He packs the pain. Four-Toe Jones, his name. It's the simple power of truth. Join the conversation. RazRadioLive.com. It's the first 52. Uncensored, uncut, and live. Truth talk with guests that might help you survive. It's the simple power of truth. Join the conversation. See through the lies of the manipulation. It's the first 52. Listen up if you want to survive the ride. Tune in, the truth might save your life. The simple power of truth. One word, rock the nation. RazRadioLive.com. It's the first 52.
Oh, here we are. It is Tuesday. What is today's date? God, it's the 12th of December. Do you believe it's the 12th of December? Because I damn well can't figure out that it is. Welcome to the First 52, RazRadioLive.com, Radio Free Blood, Radio Chaos, Radio Confluence, The D, where else? Salty Talk Radio. Obviously, find us on Twitch, Ustream, Periscope, YouTube. You can find us all there, too, also. Here we are. It is another Tuesday. We're going to get this thing rolling, like, real quick. Lexi's running a little bit behind, unfortunately. We had a death on her side of the family. It's been expected. It's been something we've actually been hoping for. I know that sounds horrible to say, but sometimes you want somebody to take their next step into whatever's next for you in humanity, whatever the next surface that we travel is. That's where her great grandmother is going. So I mean, it's not, again, like I said, it's an expected event. So she's a little behind. I don't even know if she'll be joining us tonight. We do have James Wood in the second hour. He'll be joining us right around 7 o'clock. And we know James is always a good time. We always have a lot of fun with him. So that'll be a lot of enjoyment. And I do believe the Four-Toed one, even though he's kind of out of pocket but kind of in pocket, I don't know, he might still be on a boat. It sounds like it's raining. What are you doing, Four-Toed?
I just got over into San Pedro a few minutes ago and stopped at my favorite local bar, the Allegra, because they have internet here. Because it'll take me 20 minutes to get home. So I was like, I got to call now. Plus, I haven't eaten all day. All right, so, the reason why I agreed to do the show with you again was so that I could talk about all the good stuff about Guatemala.
Right.
Right? But I also have to talk about the bad stuff. All right, I'm trying to give a real-world view of this. This morning, I went over across the lake to Panachel to go get my motorcycle to drive it 2 hours around the lake to bring it to. Oh my God, there's fucking music and noise everywhere.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. Go ahead, brother. You got it.
All right, so I drove the motorcycle 5 miles away from where I'm standing, right? And the fucking road was blocked because they're doing construction on the whole road. It won't open for like another 2 weeks. I had to ride the motorcycle all the way back to Panachel, right?
You couldn't take it like off-road and get around some way?
There is no way around. There are not a lot of streets here. So this is I'm giving you the real world Guatemalan experience.
Right.
Right. There's some great shit here. There's some bad stuff here. You know?
Of course, yeah.
As a libertarian, you'll hear me scream, taxation is theft. But in reality, I want to scream income tax and property tax is theft. All of the tax is avoidable if you wanted to. I actually enjoy paying road tax. I like paying tolls.
So let me ask you, Dave. So would you say that your experience so far has, even though you're still, a very strong anarchist type person, and we know how you think, but do you feel that it has maybe lightened your beliefs or brought you back center a little bit with your travel here?
It's made me appreciate some of the things I've had the privilege of having in the States, but it also is seen it's shined a glaring light on some of the fucked up things that are going on over there. So it's just opened my
a little bit
eyes.
of both. Then you're saying.
Pardon?
A little bit of both. Then you're saying.
Exactly. It shined a light on how many things are screwed up, but it also shined a light on how many things I like. So again, the roads I like.
But who will build the roads, Dave? Who will build the roads?
All right, we can go into a philosophical debate on that, but I'm just saying that I don't mind paying for the things that I use, and this brings me all to the whole. Oh my God, there's another fucking bar across the street, and I got to move somewhere else.
It's all right, don't worry. I like hearing the background music. We're getting a taste of Guatemala from Fortos right now.
Yeah. There are no noise restrictions here. The other day, Jesus Christ, there was fucking fireworks going off from like 4 o'clock in the morning till like 10 o'clock at night. I don't know what the hell what was going on here, but there was a party here, and I missed out on it.
I'm sure you haven't missed out on all the parties there, though. So.
Well, that's the other side of anarchy,
A lot of partying.
Well, they sell fireworks at the corner bodega.
Well, it sounds like Florida, though. Really, I mean,
you can get eggs, you can get alcohol, and you can get fucking fireworks in the same store.
Well, that's Florida, though, Dave. I mean, how much different from Florida is that?
Well, you can't fire them off at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning in Florida.
Well, you can, but you'll have to deal with something eventually.
Yeah, nobody cares here. We just try to close our ears, and it's just a little weird, Again, it's. There's pluses and minuses of anarchy.
Right. We've been discussing that the 8 months.
Kind of experience.
The 8 months you've been, guys. What are we? 8 and 9 months now. You've been gone.
7.5.
Yeah. So we've had conversation about the differences and I think you've put it publicly. So I'll say you are officially a grandfather. Congratulations.
I am. Yeah, but don't tell how I found that out.
Obviously, I mean,
You know, I had to delete that fucking post.
Well, we know, and you'll be home soon, and we look forward to having you back home. And you got the time at least to take this adventure, and it's got to be interesting to have done the adventure. Hey, you even said yourself it was scary at times, but you're coming to the end of your adventure, and you're resetting to come to America again and deal with what we have to deal with here. So I just hope you're in the right mindset as you get back here.
I can't imagine I wouldn't be in the right mindset. It's just I've seen things from a different perspective down here, both good and bad. There are good things. You could walk around town high as a kite and they don't fuck with you, but you could also step in dog shit.
Every 2 steps.
Yeah, exactly. Or even get bit by a dog.
Well, I got that shit on my property here. We have dog shit issues all over the place. We got little dogs that like to run around and attack like they're big dogs. So, I mean, you can get that issue anywhere, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like, there's pluses and minuses of everything. And I think down here, the pluses and minuses kind of extend past the horizons of what we're used to in the States. Again, I just drove fucking
all day, basically
50 miles to a road. It's an interstate highway, actually, right? And they didn't even. There's not even a fucking sign at the end of the road. We had to talk to a guy, and I was like, "Hey, can I go on this?" And the roadblock was a piece of wood with nails stuck in it.
So you really probably could have went around and worked your way through it if you really wanted to.
Because I was on a motorcycle. I totally could have I totally could have fucking off-roaded my way around that thing. But they hired a guy to stand there and say, "No, you can't go here." And I was
you don't cross this bitch. No, cross this bitch. No, you stay. No,
right.
Go back.
Well, no. The guy wasn't that bad. He's like, "Hey, yeah, you can't go here." And we're like, "Where else can we go?" It's like, nowhere.
Did he really sound that in New York, Dave?
Pardon?
Did he sound that in New York?
No. Well, I'm giving you New York flair, but he was, he was just like, yeah, he was actually very friendly about it. He's like, yeah, you can't go here. And so my friend who I was riding with, he asked, is there a different way to get to San Pedro? Because I'm almost in visual distance from where I'm standing here in San Pedro now, because I'm back in San Pedro. I'm almost in visual distance of this place.
And you're really telling me you couldn't figure out a way to get there from where you were standing? You couldn't ride down the mountainside or something?
Sean, my roads.
That's too funny.
So that's a minus of anarchy, and this is why I appreciate paying for road taxes. I don't mind paying road gas,
fuel taxes,
gas taxes,
fuel taxes, yeah.
Fuel taxes, right? I don't even mind paying tolls. As long as it's local.
Well, then that's the problem. Most of the tolls, though, are private-owned roads at that point in time. You got to keep that in mind.
Does not matter. The roads are actually well maintained. For both of us, we're from the Northeast, where the roads sucked, and then we moved down to Florida, where we don't even.
Where the roads still suck.
The roads are great in Florida.
You think so? I don't think so. I disagree with that.
I think just too many people are on it, but I think the roads themselves, as a guy that likes to drive fast, the roads themselves are
the
actually
quality of the roads, but the arrangement or the infrastructure of the roads isn't that great.
Comparatively to what I'm dealing with here, it's nirvana in Florida.
Of course, you're in a third world country.
Yeah. I'm in a country that oh my God, I can't tell you the amount of roads I've been on. I've been on concrete roads, I've been on pavement road, I've been on dirt roads. I've done it all today. I went on the Inter-America Highway, and if you look it up, it goes from Alaska to fucking Argentina. I was on that highway today. A very small section of it. On my little 125 motorcycle, humming along wee, as fast as I could. And chicken buses are passing me.
Chicken buses.
They're again. So I came here to figure out. I tried to figure out the things that I thought that were going to be in place when I got here, and I was totally wrong, and I was totally right on certain things.
Right. So you don't obviously regret taking that trip.
Oh God, no! When I first got here, I wanted to come home in 3 months.
I remember that.
I extended it.
Well, no, you wanted to come home within the first
6 months. Stay another 3 months.
You wanted to come. You wanted to come home in the first 3 weeks when you first got there, if you remember.
Dude.
You even said that on the show. You're like, dude, I want to come home.
Sean, if they'd have told me the first minute that I got here in Panachel, we're going to fly you in a helicopter back to the airport and you'll be back tonight, I would have done it.
Right.
Okay? That's how fucking scared I was of this place. But after I got here, after I was here for a little while, and then I told my mom, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to be 3 months instead of 6. And then within the first month, I was like, no, I'm gonna extend it to 9 months. Shit, I wouldn't go home if I didn't have to go home to be a grandfather.
Right. No, I know. Well, you come home for a little bit. You even said that you wanted to, I mean, we miss you. We got to see you here soon. So I'm excited to hear you're coming home. So everybody listening knows, Fort Toad is in Guatemala. Maybe we've got some new listeners. We're just getting some updates about that area. I got a couple things, Dave, if you got some time, because Lexi still hasn't got home. I don't know if you heard me talking in the very beginning of the show.
I did.
Her great-grandma passed away. I'm
sorry.
Yeah, she's just trying to get some stuff put together. Now, it was expected. It's been wanted. I mean, honestly, we've been asking for it in our heads for like 2 years now. She was just going down and down and down. Everybody was working hard to keep her happy, but there comes a point in time when you got to just let it go. You know what I mean?
I do.
So I got a couple things I want to go over with you, and I've got James Wood joining me at 7 o'clock.
He and I can't converse
Oh, yes,
tonight.
you could, but you're in a bar,
No.
so
Right, I'm in a bar. I'm drunk. Nothing good's going to come from that.
yeah, no, not a problem. I figured that. So I figure if you can ride me a little bit here,
Sure.
we'll get everything figured. But I got a couple things I want to throw at you, and I don't know if you've even seen any of this that's been going on in our little area here. But Charlotte County, I've always talked highly of my police department in the county here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this past weekend, there was a big search. Multiple law enforcement agencies, in addition to several dozen volunteers, are searching for a Charlotte County Sheriff's canine who went missing.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Canine Ito was last seen in the area of blah, 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 and blah, 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 8 p.m. Saturday. This 105-pound German Shepherd is not wearing a collar, and nobody knows if it was stolen or just disappeared. Now, my first thought on this, and I have the story up on the Twitch screen and the YouTube screen for you guys to see it, and I got some video I'm going to play here. The first thing that came to my mind, Dave, was like, what if this cop lost his gun or his taser or his billy club? It's the same. This is actually worse because this is a deadly weapon that can act on its own. So now we have this dog running around, that's trained to kill, trained to attack, trained to take someone down.
All right, so can I give you a little perspective?
Absolutely. That's why I brought it up with you.
Okay, so the dog is only trained to kill when it's around its master.
Okay. Right. I'm with you.
So if you've been trained to do things a certain way, and then you go free, do you think you resort to that training, or do you want to do what you want to do?
Well, unfortunately, and we see it even with cops themselves that were maybe in Iraq or Fallujah or Afghanistan or whatever, who come back to the States and continue their job as a cop or become a cop after that. Unfortunately, that training remains, and that's some other things I have on my plate to talk about tonight. But that whether you're a dog or a human being, that training to kill remains.
Do you know the end result of that dog?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me play the audio here, and we'll go from there because I do have the story about the end result.
Car and left to die. Late tonight, we're learning more about the death of this beloved canine officer. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says the animal's death is like losing a family member. The dog somehow got out of its kennel and a vehicle hit it here on this Northport Road.
The department is now telling us that the driver that hit Ito will probably never face any charges. The Night Beat's Oliver Redston live with new details from the scene of the tragedy. Oliver.
Well, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office telling us they believe Ito was hit somewhere here along South Cranberry Boulevard, then ended up all the way over here along this wooded area. And tonight, people are already starting to cast blame.
It's like losing a family member.
A community mourns the loss of one of its own. After a 2-day search, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office confirming today they found canine Ito dead along South Cranberry Boulevard. A preliminary test shows a vehicle.
Now, something I'd like to point out about this, Dave, and you can't see the video. The Twitch listeners can see the video. For the listeners that are listening on the audio streams only, they have this dog, and this came up in conversation today, but they have this dog, as they're removing it from the side of the road in the picture, draped in an American flag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and okay, I mean, I I mean, I guess I can kind of understand this, but all right, well, let's continue the story.
Hit the canine.
That person should face charges the same way if they had run over a police officer.
Tonight, neighbors are outraged that whoever hit Ito left the scene without alerting authorities.
If you ran over...
Now, let me ask you a question. If you hit any other dog that didn't have a collar on, and, you know, oops, sorry, I hit that dog, and it's a sad thing to think, but are you going to be held accountable and charged for not stopping?
All right, so remember last week, and I told you that they should not be held accountable for anything higher. They should not be held accountable in anything in death higher. Okay,
Right,
it's just a dog.
Yeah,
it's a dog.
It's
a
first of all,
fucking dog.
it's a dog with no collar. You hit the dog, so now if they happen to find out who hit this dog, they're going to actually attempt to try to charge this person with murder or manslaughter of a cop.
Manslaughter. Well, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to bury that dog in the line of duty, despite the fact that he was just trying to run free, because his whole life he was trained to do one thing and one thing only. And then when the door was opened, that motherfucker left.
Right.
Okay.
Right. All right. Let's get some more of this here. Let's finish the story real fast. Sit tight.
Over a dog and then you left the scene of the
I'm going to back up a little bit.
If you ran over a dog and then you left the scene of the accident, then you should face the penalty.
But according to the Northport Police Department, in order for that person to face charges, they would have to have demonstrated, quote, gross recklessness or intent, neither of which they say is likely.
Right, so what happens when you hit a dog?
It depends on whether he was aware that he hit the dog.
Others say the fault belongs to the person who let Ito out of his kennel.
You'd like to know, what happened. I don't know how he got out of his cage.
My concern is I'm wondering what's going to happen to the officer that was handling that dog. Is he going to pay some consequences for that?
But as blame begins to swirl, authorities say they still need time to investigate.
I mean, we definitely want to figure out how this dog got here.
See,
and the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says they're still investigating this at this hour. Ito's handler says he believes somebody got into the garage and let Ito out of his kennel, but as of right now, the Sheriff's Office has found no evidence that happened. They are right in the middle of an internal investigation.
Or anybody ever wonder if maybe this cop was just tired of dealing with the dog and took it off to the side of the road? But because cops would never do that, though. I mean, they wouldn't shoot their girlfriend in the parking lot. They wouldn't, they wouldn't shoot some unarmed guy crying not to shoot me. They wouldn't shoot some black guy running away from them with no weapon. Cops wouldn't do that. So they wouldn't take the dog to the side of the road and maybe run it over intentionally because, they needed to get rid of it because they were tired of handling it.
You might be right.
You never know.
Hold on, you might be right, but remember, it's just a dog. And I hate to be so crass about this, but it's in the eyes of the law, it's property.
Right, but see, in the eyes of the law, if you walked up to that dog and punched it, you just assaulted a law enforcement officer, which I disagree with that too.
That is my point. It's supposed to be property, not a law enforcement officer.
Right, it's not a person. It's not a. And we know that they trumped up these charges or this idea of a police dog being an officer so that they could just add more charges to somebody who's being attacked by a wild dog who's ripping their arm apart. We could definitely look at it that way and say, hey, this is the reasoning for this buildup.
All right, so here's the thing I want to ask: if you get pulled over by the cops. And they're like, we're going to get the drug dog, right? And then they listen to a dog. How fucked up is that?
Right. And usually it's, it's been proven a lot of times. It's been proven that cops carry drugs to throw drugs. That we've had cops come out and admit that.
It does, look, let's not even talk about what they might do, okay? Let's just talk about the fact that they listen to dogs to break the Fourth and Fifth Amendment.
Right. It's a tool. It's a tool, Dave, though. You have to keep that in mind.
Do you think the Founding Fathers would approve?
Well, listen, we listen to machines that'll sniff your body for explosives or scan your body for things that shouldn't be there. We listen to machines. Why wouldn't we listen to dogs?
No, they listen to machines. That's my point. would the founding fathers approve of listening to dogs or listening to machines to indict you on something?
I don't know. Would the founding fathers approve on setting somebody up with weapons or explosives in order
all you
to
gotta do is look,
indoctrinate
all
them?
you got to do is read the Fourth and Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, and the answer is blatantly clear.
Oh, I know, Dave. We all know that, but we don't live that world here anymore. I mean, we can't grow. It's been ruled. Did you see the story about you can't eat your vegetables if you grow them in your own farm in Miami?
Well, that happened in where the hell is it? Over by the Cape Canaveral.
Miami Shores.
No, that's 4 hours away. It's been happening here in Florida for a couple of years now, and not only that, in Utah you can't collect rainwater because they own it. There's all kinds of crazy shit. They don't do that down here in Guatemala.
Do you remember the chick in Fort Myers that was not connected to the sewer, was not connected to the water? The courts forced her to do it. She's been fighting with it forever now.
Yeah. You know why?
Because government sucks.
Because the government has government-sanctioned, approved monopolies with the sewer systems, with the telecommunication systems. This is why this whole net neutrality. I'm sorry, I'm doing it again because I did it last week. Because I'm watching all this stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's gonna let net neutrality go, and bad things are gonna happen." It's like, well, then fight for a choice. The choice is what will make things better.
Yeah, a lot of people I'm close with that I talk to are all up in arms because this net neutrality is going away. And I understand the argument. It's not that I don't understand the argument. I just don't agree with the fact that we need government to prevent business from doing stupid shit.
Mark is the only one on my side on this.
I'm on your side on this. Back up a little bit there, brother. I agree with you that we don't need that.
Mark is the only one that's vocal about it.
I just don't understand it. That's my biggest problem with it. I don't understand it enough to argue it. I have my opinion, and I don't want it, and I don't want it because it's just government control. But I don't understand it enough to debate it with somebody, and that I'll admit that straightforward.
Right. Well, the thing that gets me the most is legal content, quote unquote legal content, okay, which is what is included in net neutrality. Okay, where is the legal content? Okay, who decides the legal content? I shit you not, Sean. If Hillary Clinton was president today instead of Trump, I guarantee you, WikiLeaks would be abolished from the internet because she thinks it's illegal content.
Well, and that goes to that's like that argument that we can have, Dave, about who is in control of what, who we should believe, who we should trust. She thinks it's illegal content maybe because WikiLeaks is exposing more of her and the Democratic side, where maybe another organization is exposing the Republican side, CNN or MSNBC or whoever they want to claim is the one doing that. But it's just exposing the dark secrets of the main ruling elite in general.
Sean, how much bullshit
did I just feed
we
you?
exposed over the last 5 years, right?
Right.
Some of it, most of it's been wrong. Some of it's been right.
Well, that's why I don't follow that or
Hold on.
the other shit.
Could
Go ahead.
Could you imagine if we were shut down? Again, I don't like America because I don't like what's going on. But it's the last bastion of free speech. Okay, we could talk shit about our government without impunity. So far, but legal content actually curtails that. So, listen, I'm 50 years old. Well, I'm going to be 50.
Grandpa.
By the time all this shit goes bad, I'll be dead. But the fact of the matter remains is that this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to shut down. There's a video that Clinton, Hillary just said. Basically, we got to shut down all these things. Oh.
Dave's at the bar if you can't figure that one out.
Oh my God! I just ate and drank a whole lot of stuff, so I'm hiccuping and burping. Nothing good's going to come from a centrally controlled internet. Okay, the FTC just J.J. Riley, our friend, just actually posted something today, because this is what I've been pushing for. Is like the FTC will actually get your back if there's unfair trade practices going on. Okay, and nobody understands. Seriously, Sean. Nobody understands what fucking Trump is doing. He's trying to decentralize.
I totally don't understand what he's doing. He's out of his mind. They're all out of their mind. And I get the decentralization, but I still feel, Dave, I still have that Winter Soldier feeling. I still have that you know, the Nazis have been there all the time in the background, or we could call them, you know, what they called them. What did they call it in Hydra? You know, the Hydra has been there. It's been in the background all this time, you know, in the government, involved in the government, taking over the government, and maybe Trump is the final guy.
So let me ask you this: how long have you known of Ron Paul, and how many times he's gone for president?
I knew of Ron Paul up till today, so we're at like maybe 12 years, give or take, that I've actually knew of him and followed him.
Within that time frame, there was a 2008-2012 election, right?
Right. Okay,
that's when he ran Republican. Do you remember when he ran for Libertarian president?
No, because unfortunately, that.
You don't. All right, you don't.
But wait. I got a caveat to that. That's because I wasn't paying attention at that point in time. I just was partying and living life and working hard, and I didn't care about politics.
That doesn't mean you can't go backwards and look about shit. Okay.
Right.
Donald Trump ran from the Reform Party in 1990.
Right.
Okay. He was pushed out like Ron Paul was in 2012 or 2008 and 2012, and he was pushed out like Bernie Sanders was in 2016.
Well, Bernie Sanders is a piece of shit, and his wife's a piece of shit. But that's just my own opinion. Sorry.
All right.
Matt, I know that probably sucks to you.
It matters not what your feelings are. It's just what are we looking at? The status quo pushes everything, all the other grassroots shit out. So Donald Trump was pushed out first. Well, I wouldn't say first because it was Perot that was pushed out first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what happened to Ross Perot there? You can't leave the Ross man out.
Do you know what happened after Ross Perot actually made a dent in the? All right, so the League of Women Voters decided who was in the presidential debates, right? After Perot, the RNC and the DNC took control of that. Okay, so they got to they took away control from the League of Women Voters. You can look this up on WikiLeaks, right? Don't listen to what I'm saying. Challenge what I'm saying. Okay. So they took control of who gets in the debates in what 86, 80. I wasn't even.
You weren't paying attention either at that point in time.
Right. Exactly. We didn't even give a shit. But the fact remains is that this is what happened. In the 80s, they took control of it, right? And you and I have seen Ron Paul get fucked with, right? And in the last election, despite the fact that we didn't even like Bernie Sanders, we got to see him fucked with too.
Right.
Right.
True.
So now, like me, you, and Matt Mazer are on the same side because we've kind of seen our grassroots guy get fucked with. And turns out that we're only served this shit sandwich or douche sandwich, right? And so it was either Hillary Clinton or Trump. And I honestly think, and again, I'm trying.
I'm
to
a lot
figure
more
out-
happier with Trump. I'll be honest. I'd rather him out of. If I had to pick out of those two, and I had no choice but those two, then obviously I'd rather Trump. And that's just, I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so I
That's
told
scary
you
in itself.
a couple weeks ago that that my friend had told me this ridiculous perspective on Trump. I kind of think that Trump is playing a puppet, but doing some shit. Like on the left hand, he's just like blah 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 blah, like talking shit on his Twitter feed. But on the left hand, on the right hand, he's kind of like fixing things, right? And so everybody he puts into power of a federal thing is a person that wants federal government gone. And again, I think he's either a fucking genius or he's a maniac. I can't figure it out yet.
You just don't know which one it is. I don't know either.
So, this whole tax thing that's going on, right?
Right.
It's shifting. Most people don't even understand this. The tax thing that the Republicans are pushing through, because they're all been pushed through it. It removes taxes from the federal government and places it on the state government. Okay. This is the same thing that's happening in net neutrality, right? They're removing an unelected position and putting it onto the states, right? And I look, I hope I'm right, but I might be wrong. I think Trump is taking one for the fucking team. I think he's doing all this crazy shit, right? On the left hand, he's like blah blah blah. This person sucks. And,
wouldn't you think they would have? I mean, now we're what? We're almost a year into his full term. I mean, he didn't take office. Oh, January will be a year. We're almost a year into his term. If what you're saying is true and actual and accurate, which is something I discussed in the beginning of his term, we're coming up to about the JFK time then. Maybe the next 6 months.
He's not going to get shot because there would be a fucking there would be a revolution that this country has never seen before.
But don't you think of this. Think about this for a moment, okay? They've built up this Antifa thing and all these idiots that are running around anti-Trump, we got all these sexual things going on. So let's say they do something like that and they pull a JFK type move. Don't you think that would actually work in their favor? Because that would send...
Exactly. He would be a martyr.
Right.
And all right, so who has he aligned himself with?
The Nazis, the
No, not the Nazis.
Not the Nazis. All right, because I hate to say it. It's just easy to say that.
He's aligned himself with every gun owner in this fucking country. It's the
every crazy.
No, hold on.
And every crazy. Every gun owner and every crazy.
No. Let's just start from the top to the bottom. He's aligned himself with every fucking military guy. He's aligned himself with every cop. He's aligned himself with every fucking militia guy.
Right.
He's aligned himself with every fucking concealed weapons holder. Okay, which means we outpopulate the other ones. Okay.
I'm with you. I'm listening.
I look again. I think he's a fucking genius or insane. I can't figure it out.
I think he's both, but that's okay. Hey, unopened package, by the way, or Parachute. I see you're there. I appreciate you joining us again. They're on Twitch. Sorry,
what time is it? Because I think my phone's gonna die soon.
Yeah, well, I'm getting ready for a break. I got James coming up here. It's 6:50.
Yeah.
I got to take a break here in a moment.
I can't do a segment with James because I'm gonna fight with him.
I know. Well,
especially since I'm drunk.
Yeah. Well, that would be nice, but I don't have Lex here to control all of us, so we're gonna have to step back from that one.
But look, I'm just telling you, the people within the sound of our voice, I don't like Trump. I don't like him at all. But if you kind of look at him, when he's with his left hand, he's just pandering to the public, and the right hand, he's making changes, right? Because one of the things he said was like, for every law that I enact, I'm going to take 2 away, right?
Right.
He's actually done more than that. For every law that he's allowed to go through, he's taken like multiple away, right? He puts people in charge of federal things that don't like federal things, other than Jeff Sessions. I don't
Right, to get
understand
rid
Jeff
of them,
Sessions.
which is the worst one of them all, because that's the one holding back medical marijuana and marijuana in general.
But the thing is, there's what 27, 28 states. There's more than a 51% share of against him, right? So, and I think he went into this thing and I could change all these things, and then he found out that I can't change all these things. I'm going to change all. When he was going for Federal Reserve chairman, okay, and there were two that they thought he was going to go down to. One was a sort of a Austrian economics guy, right? And the other one was a fucking Janet Yellen tit sucker, right?
Hey, Dave, I got to ask you. I just got a text message from Buzzard. He wants to know if he's one of those crazy Trump supporters.
He definitely is, because he's not. He's only looking at it in one way. I am not a Trump supporter, okay? But I'm kind of sitting back and I'm watching what he's doing. I'm not listening to what he's saying. I'm watching what he's doing. And as a libertarian / anarchist / voluntarist, like, some of the things he's doing is giving the power back to the people. Which, if you look at his inauguration speech, the first 5 fucking minutes tells you this, right? He's got a fucking there are more than like 3 or 4 different fucking ex-presidents and their families sitting behind him, and he totally fucking shot them down. Go look at his fucking, seriously, if you have the chance, look at it objectively. Go look at the first 5 minutes of his inauguration speech. I'm going to give the power back to you. And he thumbs back to the people behind him. Far too long, they've been in power. I'm gonna give it back to you. And the fucking thing is he's giving it back, and everybody is bucking it. That's the shitty thing. I hope that. I think he's taking one for the team.
Oh, I hope you're right. I hope I hope what you're thinking is within line. Time will tell. Time will tell. You're right. We'll see if we see a Dallas situation, or if if we see a Nazi takeover of the country.
I'm sorry. I'll take no more than 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
So we've watched Ron Paul get shot down, right? And then because we're on the libertarian side. And then just this last year, or this last election cycle, we saw fucking Bernie Sanders get shot down. Grassroots. Look, I don't shit on. Well, I kind of shit on them, but I don't. Like they wanted something, and they got shut out. Which was the same thing that happened to us in 2008, 2012, with Ron Paul. We got fucking shut out. So it shows me that there's only the establishment that wants power. It's a two-headed snake thing,
Yeah, we'll get through it eventually, my friend. One day we might figure it out.
Well, I did. I moved to another country.
And then you're coming back now because you're a grandpa. You guys, let's say goodbye to Dave. I appreciate your time, brother. I appreciate you stepping up and giving the hand. It was definitely needed. And I look forward to you sitting in studio here. Wait till you see the studio, man. I've really finagled things. So hopefully the first show when you're back in the States here, we can get you here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Yeah, I look forward to it. What are you doing for Christmas?
I don't even know. I think I'm staying here.
You're just going to stay there for Christmas?
Well, it turns out there's a lot of fireworks here. So I have
Imagine
this
that.
Fucking million. I have this $1 million view. So I think I'm going to sit out, get high, and watch the fucking fireworks from my lanai.
That sounds like a good plan, my friend. Much love. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We are going to be taking off. We'll be on next week if you're available, but then we'll be taking off the day after Christmas and the day after New Year's, just because we need a slight break. And by then, you'll be back in the States pretty much right after that, won't you?
Okay. I'll try.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. You guys sit tight. You're listening to First 52, RazRadioLive.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have James Woods joining us in the second hour. Him and I will go back and forth on a bunch of topics. I'm sure it'll be a good time. It always is. He's a good guy. We have fun. Sit tight. We'll be back, my friends.
I love the content.
Don't go anywhere. The First 52 will be right back.
Here come the butchers to cut you into profit.
Sean Raz from Raz Radio. Yeah, he's from Raz Radio. Raz is our guy. I'm your Sean Mother effing Raz.
Here come the butchers to cut you into profit, to profit, to profit, to profit, to profit.
I'm with the Raz. I'm with the Raz right now. Where is Mother effing Raz?
Join me, Sean Raz, for the First 52, Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m., RazRadioLive.com. The simple power of truth.
When you're depressed, where do you want to go? Cymbalta is a prescription medication. Tell your doctor right away if you're depressed.
First steps in a new direction. The Lord's forgiven you of everything in your life you don't want there, and He sure
Your copy of America on DVD. Have your credit card ready.
Called a mosque in the worst possible place. The controversy? It's only 2 blocks from Ground Zero. This week, Sarah Palin, up to already raucous debate, went on Twitter. She called on peaceful Muslims.
Yo, sensory deception. You ain't censoring shit. Yo. Yo, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Hey, yo, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my, yo. Senselessness has got me sensing less. Nonsensical sentences from the censorship. 5 senses regret, depressants, stimulants, sensory perception, deception. We on defense. Intentionally intense technical events, unintellectually infecting us through television sets. Couch potato brain, but vegetated as stew. They regulated my views through entertainment and news. Infiltrated education, product placement in schools. How I'm rocking my hat, how I'm lacing my shoes. Eating the shit the media's force feeding. You got little girls reading to bulimia. Believe it, bro, everyone's to blame. All became a part of this, blinded by the greed. We couldn't see the harm in this. Artists are charging marketing offices, planting the artificial seeds and harvesting the narcissist. Yo, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Hey, yo, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my, yo. Hey, yo, I touch it, I taste it, I smell it, I hear it, I see it. Love it, I hate it, don't want it there. I need it, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Hey, yo, I touch, taste, smell, hear, see, love, hate. Yo, it's mass murder by frankfurters and hamburgers. Supersize your suicidal pack. New arrival, $1, do and swallow that. Superficial world where everything's a fallacy. High speed, hook up, disconnect us from reality. All knowing Android, avoid us from thinking. Jim Jones, pop, coke, poison, punch, drinking. We are at war with your repetitive lines, hypnotize subconsciousness, rebellious rhymes, sabotage their reconnaissance. Supreme dominance over the whole populace. Hollowed out my head and filled the void with empty promises. Bionic, I'm finding it ironic. They cutting down the truth to write lies on it. Sexual saturation, instant gratification. Consume a nation, missing imagination. Mass communication, trapped in isolation. Handful of corporations got a grip on all the stations. You know why? It's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Hey, yo, it's sensory deception. You can't censor yo. Hey, yo, I touch it, I taste it, I smell it, I hear it, I see it. Love it, I hate it, don't want it there. I need it, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Hey, yo, I touch, taste, smell, hear, see, love, rock it. Censor my perception. Yo, you can't censor my yo. it, I taste it, I smell it, I hear it, I see it. Love it, I hate it, don't want it there. I need it, it's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Hey yo, I touch it, taste it, smell it, hear it, see it, love it, hate it. Don't want it there, but I need it. But I need it. Why? Cause it's sensory deception. You can't censor my perception. Sensory deception. You can't censor my.
You're listening to the First 52 on RazRadioLive.com.
It's actually the very definition of terrorism. They're trying to kill people for a political agenda.
It's just, you know, a nicety.
So, yeah, just keep in mind, guys, that the news agencies are not there to tell you the truth. They're there to tell you what they're told to tell you.
You're still stuck to the American dollar, and you're still stuck to American laws.
I still want to have the freedom to go where I want to go if I need to go. I think that's the most important thing in my mind, at least. And this goes along...
If this is going to be another cum trail. This is going to be another cum trail.
I've got lesbians and he's got cum trails.
Okay, why don't you just move along?
Animals get in the way when you're doing a radio show.
What I think is they're going to have to redirect the Americans' mindset.
That would have been even more fun.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. I want you all to keep your eyes open and your ears open on what's going on.
It's the First 52, RazRadioLive.com.
It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. So open up your
It's the rise of the chemicals. They got ya. This tyranny is medical. Who shot ya? Military generals masquerade as your doctor. Pills become bullets, then they poison your water. A pharmaceutical army built to slaughter. Till men in mass come for your wife and your daughter. Whoa, now what? Here they come for the guns. And God and demons disguised as priests and nuns. Time to run with no place to go except Honduras, with a man called Forto Jones. Skull and bones invade the skies with robot drones. Check the infrared radar for UFOs. Silvery gold, behold the weather's controlled by genetically modified hybrid clones. Built in bunkers with subjects under mind control. Injected and observed in the combat zone. Now come on.
It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies.
It's the rise of the chemicals known to shrink your genitals. Experiments with elements funded by these criminals that deserve to call them miracles. Scientific warfare, untested medicine, leaving cats in wheelchairs. I have no doubt that they're spraying in the sky, but you gotta pick your poison while you're sorting through these lies. Puffing on formaldehyde when you light a smoke flow, ride in your water, steroids in your yoke. It's an ongoing joke. Government control, they're laughing at our ass, but we're left out in the cold. $1 billion industry perception that is sold. Take a hunk of metal and turn it into gold. We're walking single file, just like some sheep. So it's time to take the lead, spit knowledge on these beats. Transparency is key, cause we know talk is cheap. Careful where you walk, or you end up in the heat.
It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. So open up your eyes. It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. It's the chemtrails, guys. It's the government lies. It's the poison in the water, then the media lies. So open up your eyes.
A lot of men talk like that. A lot of men think that way. They think it's the woman's fault. They like to blame the rape on the woman. Say, hey, she had it coming. She was wearing a short skirt. These guys think women ought to go to prison for being cock teasers. Don't seem fair to me. Don't seem right. She was wearing a short skirt. Oh, some people don't like you to talk like that. Oh, some people would like to shut you up for saying those things. You know that. Lots of people, lots of groups in this country want to tell you how to talk, tell you what you can't talk about. Well, sometimes they'll say, well, you can talk about something, but you can't joke about it. Say you can't joke about something because it's not funny. Comedians run into that shit all the time. Like rape, they'll say, you can't joke about rape. Rape's not funny. I say, fuck you, I think it's hilarious. How do you like that? But you can joke about it. I believe you can joke about anything. It all depends on how you construct the joke. What the exaggeration is. What the exaggeration is. Because every joke needs one exaggeration. Every joke needs one thing to be way out of proportion. Give you an example. You ever see a news story like this in the paper? Every now and then you run into a story that says some guy broke into a house, stole a lot of things, and while he was in there, he raped an 81-year-old woman. And I'm thinking to myself, why? What the fuck kind of a social life does this guy have? I want to say, why did you do that? Well, she was coming on to me. We were dancing and I got horny. Hey, she was asking for it. She had on a tight bathrobe. I say, Jesus Christ, be a little fucking selective next time, will you? Now, speaking of rape, you know what I wonder? I wonder, is there more rape at the equator or the North Pole? These are the kind of things I think about when I'm sitting home alone and the power goes out. I wonder, is there more rape at the equator or the North Pole? I mean per capita. I know the populations are different. Most people think it's the equator. I think it's the North Pole. People think it's the equator because it's hot down there. They don't wear a lot of clothing. Guys can see women's tits. They get horny and there's a lot of fucking going on. That's exactly why there's less rape at the equator, because there's a lot of fucking going on. You can tell there's a lot of fucking at the equator. Take a look at the population figures. Billions of people live near the equator. How many Eskimos we got? 30? 35? No one's getting laid at the North Pole. It's too fucking cold. Guys say to their wives, hey, tonight, honey, huh? Tonight, huh? Are you crazy? The wind chill factor is 300 below. These guys are deprived, they're horny, they're pent up. Every now and then, they bust out, they gotta rape somebody. Now, the biggest problem an Eskimo rapist has, trying to get wet leather leggings off a woman who's kicking. Did you ever try to get leather pants off of someone who doesn't want to take them off? You would lose your heart on in the process. Up at the North Pole, your dick would shrivel up like a stack of dimes. That's another thing I wonder. I wonder, does a rapist have a hard-on when he leaves the house in the morning? Or does he develop it during the day while he's walking around looking for somebody? These are the kind of thoughts that kept me out of the really good schools.
He claimed me as a music buddy and a lot of fun, oh baby, yeah, baby.
God, how can you not love George Carlin? I mean, come on, my friends. He hit it right on the nose, my friends. Welcome back to the First 52, RazRadioLive.com, Radio Free Blood, Radio Chaos, Radio Confluence, Salty Talk Radio, The D, YouTube, Ustream, Twitch, Periscope. I don't know, you can find us all over the place. Please make sure you join us. Please make sure you help us. Just pay attention. You don't have to give me anything. Just pay attention to what we talk about. That's the most important thing to me, is that the people that listen to me actually pay attention to what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. It's indifferent. Just pay attention. Figure it out on your own. Decide what you wanna believe, how you wanna think. That's all we encourage here. That's the only thing we want people to do. To think on their own. To decide what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. It's not that hard to do. You use your brain. You go, does that make sense? No, that doesn't make any sense. Don't do it anymore. Just figure it out. It's not hard. All right, as I promised you guys in the second hour here, it's going to be a lot of fun because you know what? One of my favorite guys to just bust shit up with and learn at the same time, James Woods. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, I'm feeling both educational and inspired, so today must be your day.
That's really good to hear, man, because you know what? I'm feeling stupid and drunk, so that's good. We got a good team going here.
Oh, this should be interesting.
It always is, man. I love having you on. James Woods, James on the internet. Pimp yourself for a second, would you? You've been on here so many times, I can't even remember what you do.
Jeez, God, what do I do? So this week, since it changes all the time, I'm still operating Revolution News over at Facebook on the website, still producing content for Act TV, still lurking around in shadows, pointing a camera at things.
Getting in a fight with Four Toads Jones.
Occasionally pop my head back, out of the hole, look around, see Satan's shadow, go back to hiding in my apartment for another 6 weeks. It's pretty much my jam.
Oh, so you're the modern day Phil.
That's pretty much it, man. If I could actually name myself Phil, I probably would, because right about now, groundhog holes seem to be the safest place to be.
Yeah, I would not disagree with you on that one, my friend. What's the biggest thing on James's radar right now? Okay, it's not that big of a thing, I guess. Are you there? Did I lose you? See, we got this going, and I already lost you that quick.
I'm here, brother.
Okay, there you go. What's the biggest thing on James's radar?
Biggest thing on James's radar on any given day now is trying to find a way to read all the news of the day, like while bypassing all the screaming about what Trump tweeted, because there's literally not enough hours in a day to track all of the outrage. And, outrage is really exhausting, man.
Yeah. Now let me ask you, do you, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't support anybody in that position at this point in time. And I know you're not a Trump supporter, but what's your take on the fiasco we see as the Trump presidency so far?
Well, it kind of defies logic. As somebody who has a long and vaunted career in the fast food hospitality service industry, I've gotten to take out a lot of garbage and see a dumpster fire or two in my day.
Right.
And this one defies all logic, because normally, like, the dumpster fire smolders a lot, there's smoke, it smells really bad, and then it goes out. And this one, man, it just keeps burning and burning, and I don't know what the hell they threw in this dumpster, but whew, man, I'm tired.
No, I feel you on that one, man. I absolutely do feel you. Idiocracy has rolled upon us quicker than I think anybody thought it would have. And, I'm the conspiracy guy. I admit that. I'm still surprised that I'm even on your Facebook page, because I share some things that you're adamantly against. But I guess we developed enough of a friendship that you can just look past what I share sometimes. But as we move through this, one thing I always talk about is relationship to movies. All right. And my biggest relationship to what I see going on in the world right now reminds me of the Avengers. It reminds me of the Winter Soldier. Did you see that Avengers?
Of course I did. I lean to the left. I'm not Amish.
That's why I love you, James. So my thing is I see almost that exact story playing out with this presidency, with the situations we see. It's almost like they have those three ships ready to hover and take all of us out. And Trump is the one guy that was, I forget his name, the character in the movie, that was in the office controlling it all. And I don't know. Am I off key by saying that? I mean, do you see that similarity at all?
Yeah, I definitely think you give the dumpster fire far too much credit here, man. Here, let me give you the simple way this goes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you go back to after Obama winning his second election, and there's a couple stories going around. There was a big meeting in a DC hotel that night between, Roger Stone and a couple of Mercer type people. And
I'm sure the Kontz brothers were in there too.
People on the left, people on the right, and they were like, let's form our plan now. And they literally spent like 4 years building this. And Donald Trump was like the happy coincidence Like, he just got trotted out to have somebody on Fox News like 2 years before the election to like throw some grenades at Hillary Clinton, you know, somebody who couldn't lose any political capital.
Right.
And it just sort of like caught fire. And I mean, if you're a Republican, like if you're like a hardline, big R, you know, middle of the party Republican, Donald Trump is the greatest thing that ever happened to you. Not because he's, you know, bringing, you know, great Christian and Republican ideals to the White House, but because he's literally like a blind, oblivious, bloated moron. And they just like let him like amble around aimlessly in the minefield, just like stepping on shit, like boom, stepping on shit, boom. And while he's just like running around playing toe tag with landmines and journalists, you know, there's like half a dozen GOP guys in the background, like cramming shitty trillion-dollar fucking tax breaks for corporations, like right down the middle of the plate, like all the crazy shit that they always wanted to do. And they were like, you know, there's no way people are going to let us do this, right? Like, they'll literally burn this place to the ground. They're like, dude, it's great, man. Just give Trump a cell phone and like 24-hour-a-day streaming footage from Fox News and just let him fucking tweet himself across the minefield, and we're going to have a goddamn field day raping the planet. And lo and behold, it's actually happening.
Do you think it's kind of strange that right after Trump got elected, the Twitter went from 140 characters to what, is it like 240 or 260 now? Do you think that has anything to do with Trump?
They had actually been knocking it around for a while. Their issue being that while it's an expedient delivery mechanism, it doesn't allow them to compete with Facebook as far as depth of content. And now that they're a publicly traded company, they have to find a way to be more accessible to the masses so that they can generate advertising dollars. Yada, yada, yada. That's how tech world works.
So there's no Trump connection. Hey, let's give this guy some more space to hang himself.
No, technically, if you're Twitter, you would want somebody putting out more messages that are shorter, which would generate more total retweets, which would give you a better statistic during your shareholders meeting.
Okay, well, like I said, I always run the conspiracy side. I admit that. I'm straight up and say that. I'm always going to come from that angle because that's just how my mind works. So that's why I ask the questions I ask, James, you know?
Oh, no, I get it. And I just happen to be the idiotic social media nerd who literally, this is like the only crap I know.
Is paying attention to social media, how the algorithm works.
Oh, dude, I spend hours a week, every week, just on Facebook algorithm stuff. And it's still not as exhausting or brain draining as trying to follow what Trump's tweeting about every hour.
I can't believe that they are still allowing him, honestly, to tweet the way he is. That's like the biggest confusion to me ever. I mean, somebody needs to get this guy under control, or again, they want this. They want it to grow like this.
He's the ultimate weapon of mass distraction, and unlike every other one that's ever been like fabricated or produced, this one's 100% organic. So everybody just gets to throw their hands in the air and go, "Oh, I didn't see that one coming." Like, it's great. It's like plausible deniability. You can be like, "Listen, there's no way we planned this. Like, this is so shit-ass crazy. You know we couldn't have planned this. Like, this had to have just happened."
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of why I lean towards, you know, I've always, to go with the conspiracy side of things, right, James? I've always thought that there were multiple factions of the elite. You know, there's just like the mafia has different families. I believe the elite function in a broken mafia family type manner, where they all want the same thing, which is total domination, but they all don't agree on how they're going to get there. And that's why we have the Democratic, Republican, blah, 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 the bullshit we've been watching for 60, 70 years that's just destroyed our country. And it's almost like Trump is on the side of the family that really has the power, but they need that patsy to go down. It's so confusing. I used to think I understood conspiracies, and I can't even figure any of this shit out anymore. It's that confusing even to me.
I would be willing to say, like, and again, I'm the one you bring on when you need a voice of actual logic and reason, or else you'll be talking fucking chemtrails and aliens 12 hours a day. And
I got an alien story up here, so be careful.
Oh God, no! Please. 8:01 p.m. sounds like an awesome time for that. No, like, you know, you could say somewhere along the line, like, sure, there was a plan, but Trump broke all those rules. Like you know, you could take Priebus and Mercer and you know, all Bannon and all the power brokers and have them say whatever they want and, you know, concoct whatever plan they want. And they created this Frankenstein's monster, man, and it's big, it's bad, and it's pissed off. And, you know, like, they were not anticipating that it was just going to break loose and run amok and start chewing on villagers, but, you know, like, you wanted a distraction. He is the ultimate weapon of mass distraction, man, and he requires no effort. You don't have to give him directions. You don't have to wind him up. You don't have to inspire him. You literally just give him a cell phone and a fucking TV monitor.
And a Twitter account.
You're good to go, man. Good to go.
Yeah, it is kind of scary. And again, I wish somebody would rail him in on the Twitter world. Let's change gears a little bit here, James. Something that has obviously well taken over the media, has well taken over the news cycle in general. And you kind of lean a little bit towards the left. You're more of a liberal type person, and this whole sexual harassment, and I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking in general. I'm talking about the explosiveness of Hollywood pedophiles and sexual harassers. Which, if anybody's surprised about that, you haven't been paying attention to the world over the past 100 years. I mean, Shirley Temple was kept in a little box to keep her under control in the 30s, you know? So it's not like these things haven't been going on for decades. Do you have an opinion or a thought or an idea of why we're seeing the explosion? And it's both sides. It's, you know, Republicans, Democrats getting hit by this. It's rich, it's poor, it's all over the place. What's your thought on this rollout of sexual harassment, of sexual misconduct?
I'm pretty sure it's all true. I'm pretty sure it's the tip of the iceberg. I think you do basic human behavior a disservice when you say this has been going on for 100 years, because I'm pretty sure for as long as there have been people, there have been powerful people. And for as long as there's been powerful people, there's been sick bastards diddling kids and having their way with people. It has nothing to do with an ideology. It has nothing to do with a freaking belief system. It solely has to do with being a powerful asshole and having no more hills to conquer. So you're just going to create a little fucking hill to keep yourself occupied. Like, you know, you can't say like 4,000 years ago there weren't, you know, pharaohs diddling, you know, baby slaves.
Well, there was no laws against it then, though.
This is nothing new. For as long as there's been powerful assholes, there's been people taking advantage of you know, of the weak.
Of the weak, right.
That's just how it is.
Right. Go ahead. I agree with you. So that's, you know, it's, but why do we accept it? And you're right with saying 100 years. I mean, I was kind of going with modern times. I was just trying to connect to what we're looking at now. I mean, even presidents that were respected, JFK, he was a womanizer. You know, we went from being womanizers to being sexual predators. You know, this is something I've discussed on my show. You know, when I was in my 20s, my late teens, my early 20s, I probably wasn't the most upstanding man out there. And I probably have done some things that in the climate of today, I could go to jail for, possibly. But in the climate of when it happened, it was, you know, just that's what happened. That's like how has society changed that we've seen, what are we at, 90, 100 people now in the past 60 days, 80 days have been accused of or charged with or removed from because of these instances. And we have serious ones, which is, you know, actual molestation and rape, to oh, he grazed my knee while we were on the set. You know, we have a very large projection of what we're looking at here, James. So that's kind of my problem with the level of where we're at with it. Make any sense?
I think if you think it's a large number, and again, you know, you want to say 80, 90, 100 people have come out over, you know, out of the 8 billion on the planet who have said that some powerful asshole took advantage of me. That's still a ludicrously small number, but if you're looking at it in terms of, you know, a year ago there were none and now there's 100, yeah, the difference is that people just finally snapped and lost their shit. And, you know, this is the flip side of living in the Trump's America, is that there's no more taboo. There's no more boundary. Like, you know, social niceties that used to keep things in place. It's what you would refer to as the implied social contract. The implied social contract is gone. And with the loss of the implied social contract, you know, pretty much all societal boundaries are now fair game. You know, stuff that was kept in a closet or kept under wraps is free to roam, and, you know, behavior that used to be aberrant is now accepted, and you know, stuff that used to be the norm is now considered outside the box. Like, it's the wild, wild west, man.
That's a weird way to...
You know, it's just, this is a backlash, man. I mean, you got to think this has been going on for, you know, prevalency. Like, you just want to talk about, you know, people that are currently in politics and people that are currently in TV.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about people who have been powerful for 40 years. I'm pretty sure that wide blanket of people has probably done all of this and more. It's just taken this long for people to freaking snap. And, you know, when you turn around and the country is literally being led by like a mob of Looney Tunes characters, you know, it's fair game, man. Everything, you know, fuck it. What do you have to lose? You literally have nothing to lose now.
You know, you say run by a gang of what'd you say there? The characters.
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tune character. I couldn't remember. Do you believe I forgot Looney Tunes? I grew up on Looney Tunes. You say about them being a bunch of Looney Tune characters, and we watched this game for the past year. It has been very entertaining. It is like a reality show. I mean, we do have a guy that was wrestling. And we're at Idiocracy. Let's just admit we're at Idiocracy. And I don't really discuss politics very much anymore. Honestly, I kind of just talk about, you know, I've got snowflakes being all upset about being called snowflakes. I've got cops shooting things, and very rarely, I don't even pay attention to these idiots in office anymore. Maybe that's a downfall on my side. Maybe I should pay more attention, but it's so much of a game anymore. I can't. I don't want to, because I feel it's a game.
You know, a number of times in my life, I have definitely subscribed to the "what's the point" philosophy, and just kind of thrown my hands in the air and done, you know, Joe Schmo stuff. And then at other times in my life, I kind of, you know, snap out of it and wake back up and deal with all the bullshit of having to follow all this stuff. And trust me, I really don't want to have to care about it.
I feel the same.
The one inescapable thing that I cannot get away from, and it is literally like the wedge issue that keeps driving me back into this, is that if all the elections were pointless and it has all been decided, and, you know, there's 6 guys sitting around a dark table dressed like, you know, Montgomery Burns, wearing like a red velvet robe, rubbing their hands together, going, excellent, like planning out the world, like, there would not be thousands of people spending billions, and that's with a B, billions of dollars every year just to get like a third of the population to come out and flick a stupid switch. Like, there is so much money and so much effort that goes into that would be utterly pointless. I mean, in Russia, it's really simple. Do you think they spend $1 billion a year on the election? Putin comes out and goes, who am I shooting today? And they trot one dude out, and 96% of people vote for Putin, and it's over. And they save like $4 billion a year. So it's not like it has to be there. Like,
Well, when you're
It would just
controlling,
not be there if this wasn't actually the one foil against what's actually happening.
the problem is, James, is when you have to control a mass population as they've been doing for decades, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, you have to make them feel that they're part of it. You have to feel like you're part of it. And the best way to control people is to make them feel that they have a hand in what's going on. So you make them feel.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but you wouldn't spend billions of dollars a year doing it when you could be spending that money on pizza places with kiddie basements or whatever the fuck it is you think that rich crazy assholes spend all their money on.
But the problem is, though, they don't care about the money. It's not the money that gets them. They have all the money. They don't care about that. And when they spend this billions of dollars to get elected, they're spending it with their friends. So it's amongst the circle jerk of rich people that want to make each other feel good. That's all that is. The money spent is to make you and I, the little guy, feel like, oh God, this guy's important because he spent $1 million or $10 million or $100 million to get elected. So this guy's important because he had the money to do that cost spending. He could do that, so I should look up to him because he's bigger than me because he's got more money. It makes the little guy. That's the whole point of it. That's the whole reason to play this game every 4 years, every 2 years, every 6 years, whatever it be, that there's a reasoning behind that game. It's to keep us enthralled in what they're doing and not concerned with what they're doing to us.
Again, I don't disagree with the general premise, but
I'm a conspiracy guy.
You pretty much spent the last 20 years either in the sandbox or in the swamp, and I've been in DC, and I've gone on so many campaign trails and campaign rallies, and been to DC and been neck deep in this whole machine thing. And again, I understand the need for the show. Trust me, I get it. That's why they have bong hits in Avengers movies. I'm not oblivious to the distraction. It's why we have Donald Trump with a BlackBerry and a cell phone. Again, I'm not oblivious to it. But if you don't give the I know you're talking about giving the plebes the idea that they might have a chance.
Right.
But if they don't have an actual viable chance, history has shown it every time once a society realizes that. It's when the torches and pitchforks come out and rich old white people end up in soup pots. So they always have to leave that avenue. It's like when every single time they build a Death Star for some godly unknown reason, they leave that 1 3-centimeter wide port that somebody can shoot into to kill the whole goddamn thing. That's the electoral process.
But
it's the 3-millimeter exhaust port on the Death Star. That's why it's there.
But here's the problem, James. They didn't have the internet then. They didn't have. My job. I'm a maintenance guy in an apartment complex, right? I was in an apartment yesterday, doing my job, and it's an older woman, not that old, under 60, and a man, and they're sitting in their little room, outside their kitchen, playing some kind of Facebook game, not even paying attention to any reality, and they're actually sitting there talking about their strategy to win this Facebook game. And that's for the 40 minutes I was in their apartment working. That's all they discussed. There was no news on in the background. There was no conversation of anything outside of this fake realm that they're playing a game in. And we're talking about grown-ass grandparent adults. It's a scary thing, my friend.
Hey, man, I got to level 800 on Candy Crush, so let's, stop it back a little bit.
We need to have our escapes. Listen, I play Angry Birds every day. That's my escape. I throw that bird, and then I go, wow, that structure was stronger than Building 7 on 9/11. Look how quickly, how well that structure held up to that bird hitting it. I mean, that's literally things I say as I'm playing Angry Birds, and that's my getaway. That's my escape. I just want to throw that bird to kill that pig because, we can associate that to a lot of things. As a matter of fact, I got some pig stories if you want to talk about them.
No, I just had this horrible vision of me playing Candy Crush and then complaining about all the candies being made from genetically modified sugar. And, oh man, you just ruined that for me too. Thanks, brother.
Listen, we have to have our releases, but we still have to keep everything inside of what's going on around us, and I swear I tweeted it twice. Bob Tuscan even laughed at it once. I said, I can't believe the structural integrity of the buildings they build in Angry Birds. They're better than the ones on 9/11.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess. I mean, thankfully I don't play a lot of Angry Birds because, like I said, I'm busy, man, between the Candy Crush and the dumpster fire. Who's got time for a second app?
No kidding. We had some decisions come through this past week and a half, 2 weeks, relating to stories that I've talked about in the past. Obviously, the one out of South Carolina, the cop that got 20 years for shooting, what was his name? Michael Slager. He shot Walter Scott in the back as he ran away, allegedly with his taser. He's going to jail for 20 years. It looks like here. Any opinion or thoughts on that?
Oh boy, so many. It's a shame Walter Scott couldn't only get 20 years. So no sympathy. We'll see what happens when he actually goes to jail. We'll see what jail he goes to. We'll see what his appeals process looks like with a police union and, getting clemency and we'll see. I mean, I live in New York City. I mean, the Amadou Diallo thing was one of the most horrific, police abuse things. Not to happen, just that's come out.
That was the one that was shot in his own stairwell, dude, just coming home from work. Is that?
No, that was Zakai Gurley. Amadou Diallo was the guy who got broomsticked in the.
Oh yeah.
So even those guys who got convicted and got 8 months and then ended up not going to jail, it means nothing. When Walter Scott got shot, and people were worried there were going to be riots in South Carolina. The chief of police and the governor and everybody came out and said, no, we're charging him day one. And they made sure they got that shit out in the news so that there weren't riots.
Right.
And then, it worked its way up the case. And every single time, people came in to go, hey, don't worry, look, it's still moving forward. And every police case moves forward like this. Talk to me once he's actually been in jail and served time for a crime. Until then, it's more of that political theater you like to talk about.
Yeah, and you know what? I can see what you're saying, but then we can turn the script here and we can go over to Daniel Shaver, a white man, unarmed, gunned down by a crazy cop. The jury wasn't allowed to see what was engraved on his gun. The jury was not allowed to see, as far as I'm aware, the body camera footage of this, and the body camera footage was released this past week. Do you know this story?
Of course. I had multiple videos up on Revolution News last week on this. It's again, this is a blue line issue. It's not a white or a black issue. It's a blue issue.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that video. That guy was out of his mind. That was the worst game of Simon Says ever.
I hate to laugh. I apologize because this is a serious thing, but you're right. You're very right.
It's effed up. The second you heard that, this guy was so jacked up. I'm surprised he wasn't just mainlining meth and there wasn't a big needle hanging out of the side of his neck while he was sitting there going, get on the ground. Simon Says, you knew he was going to hold that guy the second you heard him sounding all aggro.
He was dying to shoot and kill somebody that night. He was waiting to do it.
Yeah, whatever bad day he had, the McDonald's lid wasn't on his coffee when the drive-thru lady gave it to him and it spilled in his lap, or, his wife caught him with the neighbor, or whatever shitty thing happened to him that day. That's what happens. When you have untrained people and you give them a gun and they have shitty days, people die.
Well, it's not even the untrained, and I would disagree with you on that because I believe this guy was a military veteran. I believe this guy was in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's my point. He's somebody who's trained.
He's overly trained.
A civilian population and see residents as potential insurgents is not somebody who is trained to be a peace officer in an American city.
Okay, I see the angle you took on there. Okay, I take that back then, but I do agree with you. I think that's a big problem we're seeing now. As you watch this video, and for those out there who haven't watched it, it's out there. I mean, TMZ has it. I've seen multiple different angles now. They even have, I think, all 3 officers' body cameras. I've seen all 3 angles at this point in time. And it's sad that the jury didn't see that. It's sad that the jury didn't see "you're fucked" on the guard on his weapon.
Yeah, but this isn't new. Like I've been following these now. Going back towards Michael Brown and Ferguson and Eric Garner in New York, and a lot of times you'll hear somebody
Kelly in California.
The cops go into trial, and they do that to, they get people to chill out. And the thing about grand juries is are where fuckery happens. And there's that old saying, like, a grand jury would indict a bologna sandwich. And it's the truth. Like 90-something% of all cases that get brought before a grand jury go to trial. And like 80-something% of them end in convictions, except for
law enforcement
police cases,
right?
And the conviction rate is something like 9%, and it's because all the procedural stuff that people don't see, where evidence gets excluded, where certain things get left out, where testimony becomes weighted, where somebody's quote, and I'm making the big ass giant air quotes here, is an expert who provides some kind of bullshit testimony. It's just a giant crock of shit, man.
And next time you'll be able to see James make those big air quotes. I didn't give him a heads up that we were on Twitch nowadays, so next time we'll have James on the video, and that should be very exciting. You know what bothers me though, James, about this?
Everything.
Well, everything obviously does. But as you look at this case, this guy, not only was he gunned down and murdered, unarmed, but he had done, like, there was not even a reason. I guess he was showing his BB gun to some fellow friends of his in his hotel room, and somebody saw it through the window. So he didn't even do anything illegal. It's not even like he had a bag of weed on him, which is not a reason to die either, or a bag of meth, which still isn't a reason to die. But that's what bothers me the most, is this man had done nothing wrong. I showed the video to my wife the other night, and as we're watching it, she goes, "You know what? You'd be dead quicker." She literally said that, because I wouldn't let a cop talk to my wife the way this cop talked, and especially if I had a few drinks. I wouldn't let somebody talk to my wife that way, the way that this guy talked to him, especially if we didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? I'd be dead quicker.
But again, this isn't an isolated incident. By the way, he was apparently he was an exterminator,
right?
And he had one of the pellet dispenser guns
to get rid of the birds off of runways and shit like that.
No, it's the thing that you use to shoot the poison pellets into walls. It's almost like a rubber band on a stick, and it shoots like little coal pellets out of it.
Okay.
And somebody saw him and called the cops. Which, keep in mind, this was in Arizona, which is an open carry state.
Yep. Well, you can carry any weapon you want.
Yeah, but this isn't anything new. John Crawford was holding a BB gun in a Walmart in a place where there was open carry in the sporting goods section. Cops gunned him down. I mean, this is not new. It's always, if you give the wrong cop on the wrong day
the right reason,
the excuse to kill you, you're going to get killed. The fact that it's seemingly more prevalent to poor people and people in communities of color, that's just because it's a crime of opportunity by ratio. That's all that is.
Right. No, and I agree with you. And you give the wrong cop the right day, the wrong color with the right weapon, and the story's not going to be very happy for you.
No, and every single time that a grand jury disallows evidence, basically stacks the deck against somebody so that a cop walks away, this is the sort of thing that makes people more and more pissed off. This is the thing that gets you closer and closer to the torches and pitchforks place, which is what all politicians dread. They're always trying to push it up to the line as far as they can without actually stepping over. I mean, except for maybe the guy Arthur Blank, who owns Home Depot, maybe he'd be down with the torches and pitchforks thing because at least he'd make money. But in general, the elite really don't want you getting into the torches and pitchforks portion of the show. And every time shit like this happens, it pushes it a little bit closer, which is why when it happens, it's in grand juries where people don't see most of the fuckery.
The problem is, though, my friend, is in this day and age, and people who will argue against the Second Amendment and against the Constitution will argue that, you know what, torches and pitchforks, yeah, that's what we used to have to deal with. Now it's nuclear weapons and F-16s. And when it comes to the Second Amendment, the whole point was to go against the government. Well, how are you supposed to go against the government when you give the government more power than you're allowed to have?
Oh, well, I didn't say it was a winning proposition, but, you know, this was always the possible end game. I mean, it always has been in any government. And, you know, it's not the end. I mean, empires have risen and fallen. And, you know, every time you get to a point where, you know, you look around, like, I'm sure at some point, you know, people in what is now, you know, Germany were sitting around watching, you know, Roman legions just annihilate, just kick their ass, like from like the last possible place. They looked around and they were like, oh, this is it. This is the end of the world. Like, these guys are all powerful and they got more money than God and all this science. That's it. We can't ever fight back. We're all going to die. And, you know, 1,000 years later, Italy blows ass and Germany is like the #4 economy in the world. So just because you think it's over, it's not over. It's just a different phase passing and our empire too will fall.
Yeah, and we've had that conversation on this show years ago. I mean, I have what I call a flashback. It addresses exactly what you just said. Hold on, give me a second here. It takes me a moment to figure out Empires Fall. Right now, James, I want you to listen to this, okay? Because it's almost identical to what you just said. Just give me 3 minutes here. We're almost done here. We got a couple minutes left. But just listen. What happens now? Oh, you can't listen if it's not playing. Why is it not? Oh, that's why it's not playing. Here we go. Ready? She sue? I would. Back
People
to
that
zero.
get paid.
What happens now? What happens now? Does she sue? I would.
She can't. Well, who should go? Was she going to go into the same court? The same people that get paid by that are controlled by those councilmen or council people? She's going to involve in that game. You can't fight City Hall, man. They tell you can, but you can't.
Well, until we all stand up and start, you know.
No. Let's just stand up and ignore it. It'll go away.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll just go right away. I try that with a kid. It doesn't happen.
Let's do our own thing, right? And forget what they're talking about and not pay their taxes and not abide by their unjust rules. And let's just live our life peacefully and have a voluntary interaction. And if there's a problem, you know, if somebody aggresses against us and steals our property, does something, then we respond accordingly. You know.
I mean, that's a nice thought, but that's not the way it is.
It's a nice thought.
That's the way it was.
That's the way it should be.
It's the way it was, but it's not the way it is. So what do we do now?
Well, we do what they did is we ignore their government. We demand, or we don't demand. We make ourselves independent from the forceful government, and then we start all over again.
Is this something you foresee happening rapidly? And
oh, it's going to happen. Empires never come back; they always fall. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen in my time.
And most empires only last 200 years, so we're actually ahead of the game at this point in time. But we're at the end of our empire.
You know how long fiat currencies
you guys
have?
Feel like that in the state of the world right now?
Definitely.
Just as watching.
So we feel like what?
You really feel like the empire will fall?
Oh yeah, the empire has
right
to
now.
fall.
Right now.
Not right now.
Currently,
in the next 10 years, it's going to fall.
You feel like so the two of you feel like people are aware enough. You feel like enough people are aware enough.
It has nothing to do with
empire to fall.
It has nothing to do with their awareness. It has to do with the radicalness.
A lot to do with that.
No,
were the population of Russia aware when the USSR fell?
No, not at
Did
all.
they make it happen?
No.
It's the government fell. Were the people of Rome aware
That's where I was
of what's going on? You know, were the people of East Germany aware of what was going on?
No, empires fail because they just fail. That's just they're not intended to survive. They spend all the money, they take up all the resources, and they destroy the country that they're in.
They're a fucking virus, just like from the movie The Matrix.
They're a cancer. It's the same thing. So it's going to have to fail. It's going to have to fall. It's going to have to die in order for us to get past it. And fortunately enough, There is surviving it in the long run, but it's not going to be a pleasant situation. It's not going to just go away. There is no treatment for it.
Hence the reason why I have an escape clause, or I'm trying to build an escape
clause. Yeah. So, James, that was us in 2013.
Yeah, and you feel any less closer to the end of the empire?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't figure it out anymore. I am so confused anymore with how this whole this whole world has spun around. I mean, look at Alex Jones. He's screaming about how this jihadist was blowing up a pipe bomb in the subway terminals yesterday, instead of what he would have done before, and went, wait, well, was the FBI involved? Blah blah blah. But he's all on the page of it's a terrorist. And I honestly think that it might have been a real terrorist. And the reason I say that is because we have the change of thought with Jerusalem, which was done on purpose to irritate these people and really cause true terrorism.
Okay, hold on. I am now going to show you how utterly insane the world is. I'm going to show you that black is white, up is down. Cats and dogs are living together. It's mass hysteria. Are you ready for this?
I don't know, but I'll listen.
Dude, you better wear a helmet because I'm about to blow your mind.
Bring it, brother.
All right. You, Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, the man who has a tinfoil hat built with so much tin it's heavier than lead, is looking at the attack yesterday and calling it some wackadoodle religious terrorism. I, on the other hand, a rational, mature, normal adult who does not believe we are making the frogs gay, nor are we shooting laser beams into strip malls in Pomona to start the California wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the rational one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one who's going to point out that at the exact time that this chucklehead blew up a bomb in a tunnel in between two subway stations. He wasn't on either subway platform. He was in the tiniest tunnel in the entire New York City subway system. At the exact time, three women were on Good Morning America, live, planned, talking about being sexually molested by Donald Trump. A pipe bomb goes off that's just big enough to completely dominate the media, does not injure a single person. The guy's captured. There's a picture of him. He's brown. He fits the description. 9 minutes later, the governor of New York, whose office is in Albany, by the way, just happens to be in downtown Manhattan in front of a podium with a microphone saying, oh, yeah, it was definitely ISIS. How the shit did that just happen?
You're a conspiracy theorist, my friend.
I thought you would like that.
No, and you're right. I'm looking at the other side of it. I'm trying to back up a little bit. It doesn't make sense to me. There's no, the first thing I look for, James, in these situations, I look for them to say the FBI had this guy as an informant. That didn't come up at all. I have not heard this guy was supplied the fake explosives. This guy was working with the FBI. This guy was an informant in the FBI. I honestly think this was a guy that went, you know what, I'm tired of this bullshit, and I'm going to do something about it.
And I'm going to build the world's shittiest pipe bomb, and I'm going to have it blow off in the one place
it doesn't make sense.
96 miles of New York subway tunnels where there are the fewest people and no subways. Yeah, what a brilliant terrorist! Let me tell you, that's top tier right there, brother.
Yeah, and it's weird that we're playing this game right now, my friend. James Woods, James from the internet. Promote yourself again, my friend. Let's make sure we get everything out there. We got to wrap this up. We got Ease Beats and Biz coming up on the D. Raz Radio, you'll get them also. Just pay attention. James, where can everybody find you? We got to bring you on again very soon. It's been a couple weeks, but hey, you know what? I love you, man.
I like to pop back in. Facebook, we're always running on Revolution News, constantly making videos on Act TV, and you can find me on Twitter at JamesFT Internet, short for James from the Internet. And Hit me up anytime, brother. I'm an easy man to find.
Yeah, we love having you on, man. And we're going to have to get you and Dave on. I got to find out what the hell you two were fighting about this week. Because when I told him you were on, he's like, all right, I can't be on because him and I are just going to argue back and forth. So I don't know what the fuck you two were fighting about, but Jesus.
Oh, I don't know, but I love a good argument, so find out.
I will, man. I will, absolutely. James from the internet, my buddy James Woods on Facebook. Always a good time with you, man. I appreciate you joining me. I look forward to talking to you in the new year, and I goddamn well hope that they don't pull anything stupid anytime soon.
Oh, they're pulling something stupid every day. It's just a question of what you hear about.
That's right, my friend. I'll talk to you soon, all right, brother?
I'll see you soon, man.
All right, peace out. Be safe. There goes my buddy James. It's been a great show. I do want to send my condolences out to my lovely wife and her family. It's been a long day for them. It really has. And that's what happens. We look forward to spending time with family at the holidays. But sometimes you have to look forward to the movement of another one. And sometimes it's the right thing. You guys have been listening to the First 52, RazRadioLive.com, Radio Free Blood, Radio Chaos, Radio Confluence, The D, Salty Talk Radio, and of course, all the video sources that you could imagine. My friends, be safe. We'll talk to you next week. Next week will be the last show until the new year. Keep it safe, my friends. Love you.
Let's investigate the consequence of a bittersweet loss of sense, a weapon in a war against ourselves. The setting sun is loading guns, don't be afraid of mistakes, emotions misplaced, to love or to hate. I don't know what to do, we're all lost and confused, just trying to get through in this world. Always trying to prove that we're worth what it takes, but it takes a long time in the dirt to see grace. When I'm trying to be real, they tend to be fake. When I'm risking it all with no time to waste. Fuck this rat race, I'm leaving this place. It's time to blast off, destination space. With the sunset hung behind us and the universe to blind us from the moon, we'll watch the whole world explode. Moving free, unguided through the beautiful, the silent, with the light show from a passing UFO. Lost in the glow of the unknown. Please don't go. And I don't know how I got here or how I'm getting home, but right from day one I've been in this alone, with odds stacked against, I've been drowning in stress. They said, can you take more? I said, give me what's left. An old man once told me, Allie, don't ever look back. Keep your eyes on that prize and give them hell to your death. This is a test, just a frequency check for intelligent life. Now it's time to connect. It's an SOS, the dead's been sent. So now we just wait and hope for the best. With the sunset hung behind us and the universe to blind us from the moon, we'll watch the whole world explode. Moving free, unguided through the beautiful, the silent, with the light show from a passing UFO. Lost in the glow of the unknown. Please don't go. the sunset hung behind us. In the universe to blind us from the moon, we'll watch the whole world explode. Moving free, unguided through the beautiful, the silent, with the light show from a passing UFO. Lost in the glow of the unknown. Please don't go.
Love you guys so much. Thanks. The First 52's the Bump Diggity.
Trapped like me out. Thoughts inside my mind, twisting inside my brain. People, they come alive, stuck inside this game. Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. It's a dream. A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me, come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have